Standing with arms overhead, breathe in. And breathing out, bend your knees slightly for chair pose. Keep your neck long and your breath steady. Shift your sit bones slightly back, drawing the belly to the back to prevent a sway back. And take your weight to your heels. Now breathe in to stand and sweep your arms wide, bringing them behind your back and joining your hands. Stand tall and inhaling, reach back with your arms. Breathing out, raise them as high as possible without rounding your upper back or straining your breath. Inhale, begin to hinge forward from your hips. And exhaling, bend as far forward as you can. Release your arms and hang down with bent knees to standing child pose. Bent knees may make it easier for you to let the torso, shoulders, arm, and head hang. If your torso feels relaxed, you can begin to straighten your knees. Remember, though, that the main intention of this pose is to relax tension from your back and your shoulders. Inhaling, step your left foot to the rear of the mat to high lunge. Align your right knee over the ankle with the thigh parallel to the floor. Create a strong flow through the left leg, as though the leg originates from the upper belly, and press the hands to the blocks or floor to firm the upper back. Focus on broadening the chest and upper arms, nice and wide. Inhale, step forward to standing forward bend. Breathe in, step your right foot back to high lunge. Look at your alignment. Have the knee over the ankle, the thigh parallel to the floor, and knees and toes facing forward. Attention to aligning the joints helps the muscles to work in a more balanced way. Keep a strong grounding quality in the back leg and press through the hands to open the chest. Step your left foot back to plank pose. Come to hands and knees for table pose, putting a blanket under your knees for padding if needed. Stabilize the upper back by firmly pressing the hands down. Feel how the chest responds and lifts into the back body, spreading the shoulder blades. Widen the collarbones and the front shoulders, and pull the belly slightly to the spine to support the lower back. Maintaining your strong back, step your left foot back, and exhaling, raise the leg parallel to the floor, keeping the hips level. On your next breath out, raise your right arm by the ear. This is bird dog pose. Encourage the arm and leg to move away from the center body, to elongate the middle spine, and breathe steadily. Inhale, release. Exhale, return to table pose. Press the hands down to push yourself to child pose with a long spine. If you can't sit near your feet, Keep your hips over the knees and rest your head on your arms. Now return to table pose. Again, stabilize the upper back by pressing the hands down, which lifts the chest into the upper back and spreads the shoulder blades. Widen your upper chest and shoulders, pulling the belly slightly to the spine, just enough to support the lower back. Step the right foot back and exhale as you lift the leg parallel to the floor, keeping the hips level. Exhaling again, raise the left arm near the ear. Actively move the arm and leg away from one another to elongate the middle back. And continue to breathe steadily, mouth closed. Inhale, return to table pose. And exhale, rest in child pose. Start on your knees with your forearms on the mat. Interlace your fingers and narrow the elbows to shoulder width. Position your knees under your hips. With your shoulders over the elbows, press down through your forearms, feeling the rib cage respond by lifting away from the floor. At the same time, broaden your front chest. This will firm and stabilize the upper back. Keep your neck long and don't make a tight fist. Now, breathing out, push your hips behind your knees to heart-opening pose. Lengthen the whole side body and shoulders, stretching back until you can rest your forehead on the mat. If your shoulder hurts, broaden your chest more. If it continues to hurt, elevate your head on a folded blanket or block. Pressing the elbows to the mat, exhale and lift your hands an inch off the floor. Keep the neck long and move your middle back toward your hips. Inhale, lower your hands, and exhale, resting in child pose. Come to your knees, forearms on the mat, and interlace your fingers. Now turn your toes under, and drawing the belly slightly in without tucking your tailbone. Exhale and raise the knees off the floor, pushing back to Dolphin Pose. Press down through the forearms, widen your collarbones and spread your upper back. Pushing down through the forearms moves the hips back to lengthen the spine and the shoulders. Do this without compressing the neck, and keep the broad, open upper body. Breathe steadily, holding this pose for about 3 more breaths. Inhale to release, resting in child pose. Lying face down, with a blanket under your hips and ribs for padding if you need it, place your palms shoulder-width apart by the side ribs and feet hip-width apart. Press down with centered feet and thighs. Do so without tightening your glutes or tucking your tailbone. Press down with your hands, and now breathe in to raise your head and chest, keeping the belly on the floor. Maintain steady breathing and slide your ribs up toward the collarbones. Again, try not to overgrip the glutes. Exhaling, raise your straight legs off the floor. This is a variation of Locust Pose. Hug the upper belly slightly in if the back hurts, but no tucking. Inhale, release, and rest your head on your hands. Let's practice that again. Hands by the ribs, and this time with the feet mat-width apart. Be aware of how you place your feet. If the glutes grip too tightly, it will force your legs to turn out, causing compression in the lower back. However, don't overcorrect by turning the heels out. Breathe in to raise your head and chest, keeping the belly on the floor. Breathe out, lift your side ribs up toward the collarbones. Now exhale and raise your straight legs. Steady breathing. Notice the difference, if any, between feet hip width and mat width. Inhale, release, and come down to rest. Everyone is different, so going forward, consider practicing Locust Pose and other back bends with your feet slightly wider than hip width, if your back preferred that position. For Sphinx Pose, lie face down on your mat, feet hip width, resting on your forearms, positioning them parallel with each other, and the upper arms vertical. Make sure your elbows aren't behind your shoulders. In fact, they can be a bit forward to increase lower back comfort. If you found you prefer back bends with the feet wider than hip width, adjust them wider now. Inhale, press down with the forearms, and exhaling, lift your upper side ribs to the collarbones. Stay active in the upper body as you begin now to relax the legs and the glutes. Next, release the abdomen. And lastly, let go of the lower back muscles. This may be difficult, even impossible at first, especially if you're used to tightening your back muscles, thinking that will protect you. So be patient. It's a process, but well worth it, since it will give the lumbar discs much needed space. You can place a folded blanket under your belly for support until you're able to release the tight muscles. Aim to eventually stay in this nearly passive pose for upwards of 2 minutes, feeling how you can begin to move your lower back and relieve back pain. Inhale, come to the floor. And if your back is still feeling its way to relaxing, exhale and pull your belly muscles gently to the back body. Press to hands and knees and slowly lengthening your back body. Push very slowly to child pose. Lying on your right side, stretch your right arm alongside your ear, with the left hand on the floor by your chest. Rest your head on your arm and relax the neck and shoulder. Now bend your elbow and rest your head on your hand. If your neck, your shoulder or wrist are uncomfortable, straighten the arm again and rest your head on a rolled blanket. If the right shoulder is elevated, you can put something under your shoulder to act as a shim. It may help you balance. To do Vishnu's couch pose, line up your body so the head, elbow, shoulder, hip, knee, and ankle are all in line. Once you're aligned, begin to establish balance by pulling the belly gently in and tipping your left hip slightly forward. Without rolling back on your hip, bring your left arm alongside the body. Now turn your head to the left and close your eyes. Reopen your eyes and slowly place your left foot on your right thigh, hand on the knee. Try not to roll backwards, but if you need to put your left hand on the floor for support for a moment, do. Now bring your legs together again and roll face down. Lying on your left side, stretch the arm alongside your ear, with the right hand on the floor by the chest. Bend your elbow, resting your head on your hand. If you need to modify this side, rest your head on a blanket or support the shoulder. Line your body up in a straight line from ankle to elbow, as though you're on a fence rail. Shift the pelvic floor back while tilting the right hip forward. You may also feel your pelvic floor muscles slightly engage. It will stabilize your pose enough to bring your right arm to the side. Pressing the outer left foot to the mat may also help. Turn your head to the right and close your eyes. Steady breathing. Now reopen your eyes and, breathing out, place your foot on your inner left thigh. Steady exhalations will help you balance. If your balance is secure, place your hand on your knee. Now bring your legs together again and rest face down, hands under your head. Sit with your legs outstretched straight. Lean back on your right hand and bend your knees slightly, shifting them to the right edge of your mat. Holding your hip, breathe in, and as you breathe out, press down with the hand and knee as you lift your hips to modified sage pose. Draw the belly slightly in to promote steadiness. The arm will ideally be at an angle, hand beyond shoulder. Exhale and extend the left arm to the ceiling, gazing at that hand if you can. You can do this pose on your forearm if your wrist hurts. You can also try full sage pose on hand and foot if you feel confident with your strength and balance. Inhale, release. Come down gently and re-straighten your legs. Lean back on your left hand. Bend your knees, bringing them to the left side of your mat. Hold your hip. Breathe in. And as you breathe out, press down through hand and knee to raise your hips, drawing the belly slightly in. The left hand is forward of the shoulder. Breathe out, extend the right arm up, turning your head to gaze at the hand if possible. Keep your breath steady. Notice how a strong exhalation improves any balanced pose. Now inhale, come down gently, and straighten your legs. Stand on your mat in mountain pose. Place your feet hip-width apart and parallel with each other. Stand tall, directing your gaze forward and down to establish a focal point that will help you balance. Breathing steadily, shift your weight to one leg, pressing down through the foot. Imagine the roots. And pull up on the inner thigh. A steady breathing rhythm, especially stable exhalations, will also help your balance. Now bring the heel of the other leg to rest on your ankle with your toes on the floor for tree pose. Stretch your arms wide. If you find balancing here is a challenge, this is your pose. If you feel able to challenge your balance more, raise the foot. Holding it can help, and put the sole of the foot on the calf or inner thigh. Once your foot is in place, press it and the thigh together to stabilize your position and stretch your arms wide. Relax your shoulders as you lift the side body. Breathing in, bring your arms slightly forward. And breathing out, take them by your ears, reaching to the ceiling. Can you bring your knee back? Inhale, release, bringing your palms together at your chest. And exhale as you step back to mountain pose. Shift your weight to the other foot. Pressing down through that foot to ground your pose and lift the inner thigh. Remember, a steady breathing rhythm, especially stable exhalations, help firm the core and steady your balance. Use your gaze as well. Now bring the heel of the other leg to rest on your ankle with your toes on the floor. And stretch your arms wide. If you're able to, lift the foot higher, placing it on the calf or inner thigh, and pressing the foot and thigh together to stabilize your position. As you steady your core, you can let go of any tension you're holding in your shoulders, allowing the upper body to be light. Breathing in, bring your arms slightly forward, and breathing out, take them by your ears, actively reaching to the ceiling. Can you bring your knee back? Inhale, bringing the palms together at the chest, and exhale, returning to mountain pose. Standing in mountain pose, step your feet apart and extend your arms. Position your feet wrist width apart, though you should shorten the stance if your legs feel strained. Now hold your hips. Relax your hips and rotate your right leg 90 degrees out, so your center thigh, knee, and toes face the end of the mat. Letting the hips relax and float allows them to turn to the right slightly if that is needed to rotate the legs sufficiently. It probably is needed. Turn your left toes slightly to the right and align your heels with one another. Now extend your right arm by your ear and take a moment to cultivate the roots of this pose by pressing the left foot firmly to the mat. Breathe in. Shift your hips towards the back of your mat, and breathing out, reach way out over the leg, bringing your hand to a block, the foot, or by the toes. Keep your knees straight. Continue to turn your right thigh out to protect the knee and lower back. Deepen your side bend, and align your torso with your right leg. Press down through your hand. The chest responds by lifting away from the floor and begins to rotate left. Exhale and pull the left shoulder back, turning your head to gaze up if your neck allows. Exhale again, reaching to the ceiling with the left arm. Breathe steadily and use the arms to energize the upper body. Inhale, release the pose, and exhaling, draw the belly slightly in to come up to stand. Hold your hips and turn your left leg 90 degrees to the left, right foot to the left just a bit. Line your heels up for steadier balance. Relax and float your hips, allowing them to follow the rotation of the left leg. Extend your left arm by your ear and ground the pose by pressing the right foot firmly to the mat. Inhale, shift your hips towards the back of your mat, and exhale, reach out over your leg, bringing your hand to a block, the foot, or by the toes. Continue to rotate your left thigh out as you press down with the hand. Feel the chest respond by lifting away from the floor and turning toward the ceiling. Exhale, pull the right shoulder back, turning the head to gaze up if your neck allows. Now reach to the ceiling with the right arm. Breathing steadily, use the arms to energize the upper body. Inhale, begin to stand. And exhale, draw the belly slightly in to come all the way up. And turn the feet parallel. Lying on your back, bring the soles of your feet together and spread the knees for reclining bound angle pose. If the inner thighs or knees are uncomfortable, put a block or blanket under each thigh. I also suggest putting a blanket under your head. Now place your palms on the inner thighs. Exhale and close your knees halfway, resisting the action by pressing against your legs. Inhale, let the knees relax open again. Breathe out and again, close your knees halfway while resisting with the palms. Inhale and let your knees open. And do that one more time. Breathe out, close your knees halfway. Press against your legs with your hands. And now move the hands away and hug your knees. I suggest you lie in deep relaxation pose, Savasana, for 5 minutes or more to finish your practice.